Welcome inside another edition of TinChattin Friends. Justin Prince, joined alongside by Mike Moss. Mike Peters down in Indy shooting some high school football. So I get to pinch hit for the second time in a row.
Where are his priorities, Justin?
Well, you know, they saw Peter just a little bit earlier, so, you know, at least he's not on vacation this time.
That's true.
So, Mike, it's been a few weeks since we've seen you last. Obviously, the Tin Caps have done some pretty good things since then. Second half, they come out, they started 12-9. Much better start than that first half of the season.
Go back, Justin, to the last series of the first half, a three-game sweep of Great Lakes. And then they dropped the first two games of the second half, and then they went on a streak where they won 11 out of 13, and that included another four-game sweep of the Loons, a home-and-home series. Unfortunately, Bowling Green came back to town. Now, the Hot Rods, they're the class of the Midwest League.
Yeah,
they finished the first half on an 11-game winning streak, won their first two games of the second half. That made it 13 in a row, and they swept Fort Wayne. And so a little bit of reality, a dose of reality, if you will. Tin Caps came back. And now they're on a road trip. And then an off day next Tuesday. Everyone in minor league baseball is off because of the Major League All-Star game. And then the Tin Caps will have a 6-game homestand against Clinton and Burlington. So there have been some good things. Some of the hitters have come to life. And I think of Robbie Podorsky. I think of Jason Rosario. Off the top of my head, Nick Margavicius. We may talk about that in a little bit. First Tin Cap from 2018 to be promoted in the San Diego system up to High A Lake Elsinore, and in his first start last week for the Storm had 6 shutout innings of work. So congratulations to Nick.
Yeah, a much-deserved promotion for him. He was phenomenal all season long down here with Fort Wayne. It was a treat to get to watch him pitch. He was like a bulldog out on the mound. I like that mentality. He just went out there like a bulldog, and he was going to bully you.
He was one of the 4 Tin Caps that made the Eastern Division All-Star teams through a scoreless 4th inning up in Lansing a couple of weeks ago at the Midwest League All-Star game. And in the top 5 in a number of categories, strikeouts and walk to strikeout per 9 innings ratio and a couple of others. Bulldog's a nice term because I had the chance to interview him for one of our pregame shows, and we were talking at that time when the weather was lousy, and we'll talk more weather somewhat in a little bit here tonight, but he didn't mind the cold weather, and that helped him in some of his earlier starts up the Tin Caps as well. So now he's out in California pitching for the Lake Elsinore Storm.
But still, the starting pitching rotation has been phenomenal. Last night, we get a good outing from Luis Patino. Mackenzie Gore has started to round into form. Osvaldo Hernandez has been phenomenal as well. These guys just haven't really seemed to miss a beat.
And one of the reasons why the Tin Caps have struggled a little bit lately is the lack of experience defensively more than anything else. You talked about the starting pitching, and you look at the back half of the bullpen when you got a Travis Radke and you got an Evan Miller, amongst others. But you got these young kids that are still learning. We here in Fort Wayne have to be patient and realize this is developmental league baseball, Justin. This is low Class A. There's still High A, Double A, Triple A before you get to Petco Park in the major leagues. So everyone's got to learn, and they got to be patient, but they got to keep going as hard as they can.
One guy, good segue here, who's kept going as hard as he can since he joined the team in May, Mr. Robbie Podorsky. You talked about him just a few minutes ago. He's batting almost .360 since he's been with the team. He's been just a firecracker all season long for these guys, and it's been fun to watch.
I've used 2 terms for him on the air. Spark plug, pepper pot. I interviewed Robbie about 10, 12 days ago, and I just flat out said to him, Robbie, you know, you're listed at 5'7". Allegedly, I'm 5'8". We both got this similar situation where we're not the tallest guy in the world, like you at 6'3" or 4", whatever you are. And he uses the fact that, as a catalyst, the fact that he is small in size, but not in heart. And he uses that as a battle cry, so to speak.
Another guy who's lacking in size but not in heart, Mr. Peter Hood, got a chance to catch up with Robbie and talk about his success he's had this year.
Robbie Podorsky only knows one speed.
You ever got one of those bouncy balls and you throw it against the wall and you see it go all over the place? Like, that's pretty much him. Very high energy from the time he steps into the clubhouse until the game's over.
I just like to go out and play my hardest every day. So that's it. Let the rest take care of itself.
Driven by doubters, this diminutive dynamo has been dazzling in all aspects of the game this season.
And obviously you see the stuff that he can do out there. His God-given talent of speed and just moving around the base paths is huge for us. Teams are going to have to start respecting him now because he has the ability to hit it over their heads. And for him to do like the whole package where he can drive runs in, he can get on base, he can steal a base, it's just going to help his stock moving up through the ranks.
For Podorski, the speed has always been there, but the bat seems to be catching up. Heading into Wednesday night's game, the 23-year-old sported a sizzling .364 batting average. No one in the Midwest League has been better at the plate since his arrival in mid-May.
I made a couple of swing adjustments this offseason, and it took me a while this year to get the hang of it. I'm keeping it very simple, middle-to-middle approach, adjusting to what they're throwing me and not overthinking the game.
Podorski's bat is now respected around the league. He's earned that just like he's earned everything else in his career. He's a 5'7", 25th round draft pick out of McNeese State, and he wouldn't want to have it any other way.
I mean, it's a big chip on my shoulder, especially being as short as I am. It just makes me go out there and work even harder. Baseball's a game of failure. So, obviously, you want to succeed more than the people next to you, more than everybody else, and kind of prove the system wrong.
There's still plenty of mountain left to climb, but we've seen guys his size make it to the show before.
Left field, Jose Altuve, they're getting up in the Crawford boxes. And
Look no further than last year's AL MVP.
Yeah, that's the great thing about baseball because you can always go back and see Shane Victorino and David Eckstein. Like, they were all little guys, and those guys weren't even as close to as fast as Robbie is.
And that was kind of motivation telling me that there's hope, I can do it. There's guys out there that can do it. If they can do it, I can do it.
For now, though, he's playing his home games at Parkview Field, and what a treat that is for all of us.
So, a great story from Peter there. Now let's move ahead, look ahead to coming up here. Tin Caps in Cedar Rapids tonight, finishing up with the Colonels. Talk about their next three before coming back home next week for another much-needed homestand, I'd say.
6 games against Clinton and Burlington. Clinton, a chip will be on their shoulders because they lost the playoff spot on the tiebreaker.
Yep.
And in the second half, Lumber Kings struggling at 9-11, but 48-42 overall starting play tonight.
Yeah.
And in Burlington, they've had a rough go of it. They were last in the 8-team Western Division in the first half. Just 4-16 coming into play tonight at half number 2.
So really a good chance here
to make some hay.
To gain a little bit of ground. And right now the Tin Caps sitting in the 3rd place spot technically, but both teams ahead of them, I believe, have secured a playoff position, correct? And so right now they'd still be in if the playoffs were to start today, but it's still a good chance for them to gain a little bit of ground here next week.
Counting tonight's game at Cedar Rapids, the next 10 games, huge opportunities for the Tin Caps to some degree solidify their spot in the second half in the Eastern Division.
Before we wrap up, Mike Moss has requested a special appearance. You guys noticed him earlier. It's Andrew's last day here. Mike has requested a special appearance from Andrew Logsden on TinChattin. Andrew, come on over, join us right here in the middle between.
Oh, gentlemen.
Andrew, is this your first appearance on TinChattin?
It is my first on the locker room, even.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Not the first appearance from Andrew on the locker room. You know, he shot plenty of games for us.
Oh, yeah, I've shot, but
and,
in person.
We really love and appreciate Andrew for all the work that he's done for us. But the first appearance here for him in person and with Mike Moss. And, Mike, go ahead and take it away.
Well, again, and you're being so kind to visit us tonight here in the locker room and so forth on the TinChattin segment. We go back 7 years.
Yes, we do.
And you've had a great time here in Fort Wayne.
Oh, a fantastic time.
I think the viewers have expressed their likeness of you, not just for doing the weather, and we all know being a weathercaster is not the easiest job in the world because it's like being an official, be it for football, basketball, baseball. At best, you're right half the time, you're wrong half the time, even though you go into school, you got your meteorology degree, you know all the ins and outs of weathercasting, you still can't make everybody happy. But you've done a heck of a job. You built up a nice loyal following here in the Summit City. We're going to miss you. We wish you and your family the best on your new venture out in Las Vegas. And but you have been great to us here on TinChattin because I have mentioned you many a time over the last 7 years, either in my own unique way, chastising you for the crummy weather or applauding you for the good weather, which can bring some good crowds out to Parkview Field. But I just wanted to say thanks. I think I can represent the Tin Caps as well. I'm hoping Mike Nutter won't get mad at me, but I think I can represent the Tin Caps. You've done a heck of a job here at WFFT.
Thank you.
And you've been kind to let me give you some barbs. In spite of the fact that you got your degree at Washington State. I got to get the Cougars listed, mentioned in there.
Yeah, go Cougs.
So it would be nice for that. But again, thanks for doing what you've done for the station and the community. Absolutely. And we're all going to miss you. If you ever get back to Fort Wayne, stop by and visit.
Oh, 100%. Thank you so much, Mike, for everything, for the appreciation. I appreciate it so much, and I'm going to miss so many people and so many things here in Fort Wayne and Northeast Indiana and Ohio.
A one and done on TinChattin.
Batting 1,000. All right.
So that's going to do it for another edition of TinChattin here in the locker room. Andrew, once again, thank you for everything you've done for us here in the locker room, all the shooting you've done. We never would have been able to air as many games, air as many highlights, and definitely would not have had as unique of writing style ever as if it weren't for you. We really appreciate everything you've done for us, and you're going to be severely missed by me, by Peter, by everyone here.
Thanks, buddy.
And, you know, we can't wait to see what's next for you. So that'll do it for another edition of TinChattin. That's Mike. This is the Andrew one and only time, and I'm Justin. We'll be back with more in Locker Room right after this.